Ever wondered which hosting is better for you, VPS or shared? Let's take a step back and understand what web hosting is. Imagine it as a home for your website, where all your data, images, and content live. Now, there are different types of homes, right? Similarly, there are different types of web hosting, each with its own set of advantages and drawbacks. Today, we'll be focusing on two primary types: virtual private server or VPS hosting and shared hosting. VPS hosting is like living in a condo. You have your own space, but you share the building. On the other hand, shared hosting is like a dormitory. You have your room, but you share common facilities. The question is, which one is right for you? Which one meets your needs? In this video, we'll compare and contrast these two types of hosting to help you decide which is best for you. Let's start with shared hosting. What exactly is it? Imagine living in an apartment building. You have your own space, but you share resources like water and electricity with your neighbors. Shared hosting is similar. It's a type of web hosting where multiple websites share the same server. This means your website is housed on the same server as several other websites, and you all share the server's resources. This shared environment has its perks. For starters, it's cost-effective. Since you're sharing resources, you're also sharing the cost. This makes shared hosting an affordable option, particularly for those just starting out or running small to medium-sized businesses. It's akin to splitting the rent with roommates instead of buying a whole house. Another advantage of shared hosting is its simplicity. You don't need to be a tech wizard to manage your hosting. Most shared hosting providers offer user-friendly control panels and take care of the server maintenance and management for you. It's like having a landlord who takes care of all the major repairs. However, like sharing an apartment, shared hosting comes with its own set of drawbacks. Since you're sharing resources, if one website gets a surge in traffic, it might affect the performance of other websites on the same server. It's similar to when you're sharing Wi-Fi with too many people and the connection slows down. Also, because you're sharing a server, there could be security concerns. If one website on the server is attacked or infected, it could potentially impact other websites on the same server. It's a bit like if one apartment in your building gets infested with pests, there's a risk they could spread to your apartment too. In summary, shared hosting is an affordable and user-friendly option. It's perfect for small businesses, bloggers, and anyone just starting their online journey. However, it may not be the best fit if you expect high traffic or have specific security concerns. Shared hosting can be a great choice for beginners and small businesses, thanks to its affordability and ease of use. Now let's turn our attention to VPS hosting. How does it differ from shared hosting? VPS, or virtual private server hosting, takes the concept of shared hosting and adds an intriguing twist. Imagine you're living in an apartment building, but instead of sharing all common areas, you have your own dedicated space, personalized to your liking. That's VPS hosting in a nutshell. In the world of web hosting, VPS is a hybrid model. It borrows from the shared hosting concept where multiple websites reside on a single server. However, in VPS hosting, each website gets its own virtual server within the main server. This virtual server acts like a standalone machine, separate from the other websites. This division is achieved through a process called virtualization. Here's where it gets interesting. This process partitions the main server into multiple virtual servers, each with its own operating system, resources, and configurations. So what's the upshot of having your own virtual server? First off, you get increased control. With your own operating system, you have the freedom to configure and customize your server to your heart's content. You can install any software you need, tweak settings, and generally run your site just the way you want. Secondly, VPS hosting offers more flexibility. As your website grows, you can easily scale up your resources without impacting others on the same server. You're not bound by the limitations of shared resources. Last but not least, VPS hosting can deliver superior performance. With dedicated resources, your website doesn't have to compete for bandwidth, storage, or processing power. This means faster load times, smoother operation, and a better user experience. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. Managing a VPS requires a bit more technical know-how than shared hosting. You'll need to handle your own maintenance, updates, and security measures. VPS hosting then offers more power and customization, which can be ideal for larger businesses or more complex websites. And it's a step up from shared hosting, but it's not without its challenges. So is it the right choice for you? Let's delve deeper into that in our next section. So we've looked at shared and VPS hosting separately. Now let's compare them side by side. To kick things off, let's talk about cost. Shared hosting is generally more affordable, making it an excellent choice for startups or small businesses on a tight budget. You share resources with other sites on the same server, which keeps costs low. However, the downside is that if one site on the server experiences a surge in traffic, it could affect your site's performance. On the other hand, VPS hosting is more expensive. But remember, you get what you pay for. With VPS hosting, you're essentially renting a slice of a server that's dedicated to your site alone. This means you're less susceptible to slowdowns caused by other sites, which leads us to our next point, performance. Performance-wise, VPS hosting typically outshines shared hosting. Since you have dedicated resources, your website's performance isn't influenced by other websites on your server. It's like having your own lane on the highway, while shared hosting is more like a busy intersection. Let's shift gears and talk about security. Shared hosting, by its very nature, means you're sharing a server with multiple other sites. This can potentially pose a security risk. If one site on the server is compromised, it could potentially affect all other sites on that server. In contrast with VPS hosting, you have your own isolated environment. This means that even if other sites on the server are compromised, your site is less likely to be affected. However, with greater control comes greater responsibility. You're in charge of your own security measures. Next up, scalability. Shared hosting can be a good option if your site has stable or low traffic. But if you're anticipating growth, VPS hosting is more scalable. You can adjust resources as your site grows, ensuring your site remains speedy and responsive even as traffic increases. Last but not least, control. With shared hosting, you're somewhat at the mercy of the other sites on your server. You have less control over server configurations and software installations. If you're not very tech-savvy, this might not be a major concern. VPS hosting, though, gives you more control. You can configure your server, install software, and adjust settings to your liking. This is a great advantage if you have specific requirements, or if you're looking to get your hands a little dirty with the technical side of things. As we can see, both shared and VPS hosting have their strengths and weaknesses. The best choice for you will depend on your specific needs and resources. Having looked at both shared and VPS hosting, you might be wondering which one is right for you. Let's take a moment to summarize what we've learned and point you in the right direction. Shared hosting, as we've discussed, is like living in an apartment complex. You share resources with other websites on the same server, making it an economical choice. This comes with its advantages, such as lower costs and user-friendly interfaces, making it an excellent choice for beginners and small businesses. It's simple to set up, and you don't have to worry about server maintenance. That's taken care of by the hosting provider. However, sharing resources means you might experience slower website speeds during peak times, or if one of the other websites on your server sees a surge in traffic. On the other hand, VPS hosting is akin to owning a condo. You still share a building, or in this case, a server with others, but you have your dedicated portion of it. This means more control, better performance, and increased security. It's a great option for larger businesses or more complex websites that require more resources and customization. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. You'll need some technical know-how to manage and maintain your server, or else you'll have to budget for a managed service. In essence, if you're just starting out or running a smaller site, shared hosting could be your go-to. It's cost-effective and requires less technical knowledge, but if your site is growing, or if you have the resources and the know-how, a VPS could offer you the control and scalability you need. Remember, the best hosting for you depends on your specific needs and resources, so take your time, do your research, and choose the hosting that best fits your situation.